Good evening, all the joinees. Thank you for joining in. Hi, this is Prajakta. I would like to welcome you all on behalf of NGEN Research. In today's webinar, we will be discussing on mutual fund holdings analytics. Meanwhile, others join. Let's have a quick understanding as to what all topics we are going to cover today. So we will cover month-on-month changes in the portfolios of mutual funds on an overall basis, right? For entire category as a whole, if you check the trend of these mutual funds holding on to different stocks in their portfolios, we will see that how you can check this using NGEN Markets. Now, this is going to be firstly on the overall universe of either all equity asset class mutual funds, or for that matter, we will then go in a little bit of a detailed manner to check it for a particular subcategory of SEBI, right? Moving forward, we will check how you can check the holdings analysis of mutual fund portfolios on a single fund basis. We will here and see how the positions have changed over time, also as compared to the previous month. What were the largest increases, decreases that were made, and how we will check this not just for long only positions, but if there are, let's say, in equity savings funds, there are short positions, or for that matter, arbitrage positions. How will we locate all of this data on NGEN Markets? We will have a look at that. Lastly, we will understand when such funds, which typically hold some arbitrage positions in their portfolio, when they are made as a portfolio on NGEN Markets portfolio section, coupled with some other long only fund, we will see how the portfolio level holdings analysis looks like. Then finally, we will move forward to see how the daily NAV report on NGEN Markets can be downloaded. And then we'll throw the forum open for a Q&A session, wherein you can get your questions answered either by unmuting yourselves or typing in your questions in the chat box. So let us now begin. For the webinar purpose discussion today, we are going to be focusing predominantly on the funds section before we move forward to individual fund analytics. So the funds section right here, you click on this and you'll be landing on this screener tab by default. In the screener tab, you will see the first parameter, which is called filter categories. Now, the moment you click on this, you will see there are 4 buckets that open up. This is going to be our baseline when we go to holdings analysis for all the mutual funds as a whole, right? So there are 4 buckets: equity, debt, hybrid, and others. In others, there are also some solution oriented categories like children's fund and retirement fund, right? Now, the moment we then go to holdings analysis, this is where we will see month-on-month trend of mutual funds holding positions into either different sectors, different stocks, or also debt. Here, there are further 4 tabs into which holdings analysis is divided into, and the first parameter from the first tab, which is sector changes, gives you a drop down to choose funds within asset class. Now, this is going to be exactly the same that you were seeing in the screener tab. The moment you click on this drop down, you will see these 4 buckets. Of course, solution oriented is created as a separate bucket. So the same 4 categories that you were seeing in the screener have gotten appeared here. Now, because we are going to be focusing on the equity sectors, we will choose equity as an asset class. When we choose equity as an asset class, you will see there is the second tab that goes on the right hand side, tells you, okay, check funds with SEBI category. Now, what all SEBI categories will appear here? To check that, you simply click on this gray box and you will see all of the equity asset class mutual fund categories appear in front of you. Now, this again is linked directly to the screener categories. So for an example, if you simply go here in the screener, all the subcategories that you see under this equity bucket are exactly going to be similar to what you're going to see in the holdings analysis. Now, let's go on to the use case today. Let's say you want to analyze sector-wise holdings month on month for all the small cap category mutual funds. So then, once you've understood what you want to do, then you go to holdings analysis. Because small cap funds is going to be from equity as an asset class, we will again choose equity. And in check funds with SEBI category, we will put small cap as the category under consideration. The moment we click on small cap as a category, you will see this data. The first thing that you see is this blue ribbon, right? This tells you the count of all the small cap funds currently trading on Indian markets, right? Now, this is to be seen from left to right, right? So left hand side is going to be the oldest data. And as we move forward on the right hand side, you will see latest month on month parameters with respect to the holdings appear right here. Now, you see currently for 30th of September 2024, the fund count is only 24. Does that mean that, five funds stopped trading? No, it is not an indication of that. This just says that we are currently in our holdings update cycle. Our holdings update cycle every month runs between 8 and 13. That means currently we are on 11th of October. So we are currently into the holdings update cycle for the month of September 2024. If you come and check this around 13th or 14th of October, you will see all the 29, or if there are any newly launched small cap funds, appear here. So then in that case, the count will be more than 29. But otherwise, if there are no NFOs that have come into small cap as a category, you will see this 24 number same as 29. So it will become a 29 count. Currently, it is at 24. That's because 24 out of 29 small cap funds have released their holdings. And of course, they have gotten updated on NGEN Markets platform. Right. So this is your cue to take. If you see there's a sudden reduction in the count, you just have a look at calendar, right? So if you see the date is between 8th and 13th of any month, that means the update cycle is ongoing, right? This is how you read the blue ribbon right here. Now coming on to all the sectors. So these are all the sectors. These are again as per SEBI categorization of it. All of them have been listed right here. Now, for example, in this case, in finance as a sector, you see 6.04% of the overall AUM, average AUM of all the small cap funds is invested in, right? Now, this has slightly increased as compared to the previous month, because in the previous month, that is 31st of August 2024, the overall percentage allocation to finance as a category or finance as a sector was 5.79%. Which increased to 6.04. And mind you, update is still going on. That means it is going to be more than that. Right? That's why, because it's a month-on-month increase, this month, that's 30th September 2024, is going to be color-coded as green. On the other hand, if it would have been a month-on-month reduction in the percentage allocated to a particular sector, then it would be color-coded into pink. So for example, you see currently pharma from 5.88 in the previous month has reduced to a 5.84. Now, if you want to see the components as to what all small cap funds are investing into finance as a sector and to what degree, then you simply click on this cell, that is 6.04% cell, and it will open up or expand into a new window. You can sort this on the basis of highest to lowest percentage. So in this case, we're sorting them on the basis of percentage. So that's Quant Small Cap Fund has 12.29% of its portfolio invested into finance as a sector, stocks from finance as a sector. If you want to check it on the basis of amount, so that amounts to 3,279 crore. Its portfolio is invested into finance as a sector. Now, again, all of this data can be downloaded into an Excel sheet as well. So let's say you want to do month-on-month comparisons in detail, right? So of course, overall overview comparisons are available right here. So you can clearly see an increase. However, you want to see it fund-wise, then what you could practically do is you go on the previous month, that's August 2024. You click on this 5.79, you download this into an Excel sheet, and you then go to the month of September and download this also in the month in an Excel sheet. And then you can compare as to which of these funds managed to actually increase their allocation in a particular sector, and which of these funds rather kept it same or reduced it. So this is sector level trend analysis in the holdings of all the small cap funds that we check. Now this you can also sort on the basis of column heading. That means currently, of course, it is going to be default sorted on descending order, that's highest to lowest. This will just give you an idea that all the small cap funds taken together, which are the top 5 sectors invested by small cap funds. So that happen to be finance, pharma, IT software, capital goods, and consumer durables. Right. So these are the top 5 sectors on an overall basis, which are invested into by all the small cap funds taken together. Now moving forward to stock changes. So this was on an overall sector. But if you want to now go a slightly in a focused manner to actually check which is a stock, specific stock in which the holdings of all of these mutual funds are either increasing or decreasing. You want to go microscopic and you want to go stock specific. Then what you can do is similar trend analysis for all the holdings of mutual funds is available on a stock level as well. For that, in holdings analysis, simply move on the right hand side and you'll be able to see stock changes tab. Right. So these are all the stocks listed. Of course, here we are going to have the same toggle button. Mutual funds under consideration here are again equity asset class mutual funds, meaning all the subcategories of the equity asset class. Now, because these are stocks, we have classified them as large cap, mid cap, and small cap. So if you want to, let's say, check trend of mutual funds holding on to a small cap stock, then what you simply do is you change this toggle and make it small cap. When you do that, all of these small cap funds will start getting visible right here. Now let's sort this, or rather let's see this as on 31st of August 2024. Right? You can either sort it on the basis of column view. So this is typically telling you that, okay, GKW Limited was a small cap stock which was invested in highest by all the equity mutual funds taken together. Right? If you want to see which were those funds investing into JKW Limited, you simply click on 8.73 and it was SBI Long-Term Advantage Fund. It had only one single fund had 8.73% of this particular stock, and that amounts to 63,000 shares. On the other hand, we have this Religare Enterprises, right? All the mutual funds, equity mutual funds, hold 2.38% of their average AUM into this particular stock. You want to see the details again, click on this. All the mutual funds will open up. Now, because these are going to be stocks, you will see 3 columns here, and similarly, you can see them at the top as well. Right? So currently, this view that we are getting into this green, reds, all of that is changing on the basis of percentage allocation of the overall AUM, average AUM of each of these in each of these stocks. But let's say you want to check this on the basis of shares, right? Number of shares held. So then you can use this toggle, and the moment you change it to shares held in lakhs, all of these will get changed into numbers. And of course, the names of the funds are also going to be, reversed. So in this case, now it's Motherson Sumi Wiring Limited, which I'm currently focusing on 31st of August 2024. 5,647 lakh shares are held by mutual funds into this particular stock, this particular small cap stock, and the details can be found right here. So 361 focused equity fund holds 3 crore 91 lakh shares plus into Motherson Sumi, right? Again, all of this data is downloadable into an Excel sheet. Now this tells you trend, month on month trend. But let's say you just want to run a quick query wherein you want to understand all the mutual funds holding on to a one particular stock currently, right? In the current month that we are ongoing in, right? So now current month, by current month, I will practically refer to 30th of September 2024, because that is when the holdings analysis will be updated for. For that, you go to the next tab, that's equity holdings, and just type in the name of the stock. So for example, you want to check all the mutual funds holding on to Zomato as a stock. You simply type in Zomato here, and a list of all the mutual funds holding on to Zomato Limited will appear right here. Now this tells you that, okay, Tata India Consumer Fund, it appears at the top. It holds 9% of its portfolio into this particular stock, that's Zomato, right? The entire fund AUM of Tata India Consumer Fund is 2,500 crore approximately. From this, 9% comes to 231 crore, which is invested into Zomato Limited as a stock. After this, the columns, the last three columns, if you see, change as per the row under consideration. That means this 1 month returns are the returns of this particular fund and not the returns of this stock. Because you see, everywhere, I mean, as you go below, row wise, these details are changing. 6 month returns of Tata India Consumer Fund were 25%, right? 1 year returns were 44%, and so on. Right? So these three columns, 1 month, 6 month, and 1 year, are specific to the fund and fund's performance. Right? Again, all of this data, you see this download into CSV icon. You can download this into an Excel sheet. Now, this was for the overall mutual funds taken together, entire category, either entire category or for that matter, equity mutual funds as a whole. But let's say you want to go microscopic again and go on a fund level holdings analysis. So how can you do that on the platform? So for that, we have single fund analytics. And in single fund analytics, when you open asset allocation, that is where it is visible. To understand that, let's take an example of one of the funds. So I'm going to choose, let's say, a Nippon small cap. To load that fund in a new tab, what I will do is, there are multiple ways. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to just load that fund in the compare section. And to load in a detailed analysis of this particular fund, I click on this, it opens up in a new tab. Right? So this is single fund analytics on Nippon India Small Cap. To view holdings analysis, you go to asset allocation, which is the second tab after fund performance. In asset allocation, you'll be able to see the update date. So you can see out of the entire 29 small cap funds that we were considering. So 29 small cap funds, which we were considering right here, right? So 29 small cap funds, 29 entire universe. Out of that, 24 had updated its holdings for 30th of September, and Nippon happens to be one of those. So this is how you can check if a particular fund has updated its holdings for the current month or not, and have they flown through on NGEN Markets or not. On the other hand, for example, if you click on practically some other fund, right? Let's say Bank of India Small Cap. You click on this in asset allocation, you'll clearly see the date of holdings update is 31st of August 2024. That means holding update for the latest month is yet to come in, right? So this is how you check it. In asset allocation, first subtab is overview, wherein you can check the number of stocks that are held in the portfolio of a particular fund. So in this case, that's Nippon India Small Cap. It holds onto 222 stocks. 222 components form the portfolio of Nippon India Small Cap. Right? Again, it is a 95% equity portfolio. Of course, this is from equity as an asset class. And there's a mix of large cap, mid cap, and small cap. Of course, predominantly it's going to be small cap. If you want to check the in a pie chart manner as to how much is small cap, how much is large cap, and how much is small cap, then you simply head on to concentration analysis. The moment you go to concentration, you will see a pie chart created. 70% of the portfolio of Nippon India small cap fund is held into small cap stocks. Because there's some percentage into mid caps that amounts to 14%. 11% is from large cap. And the others part that you can see right here, that's 4.06%, is practically coming in from cash component of it. Right? So this is what overview tab tells you. Now moving forward to position changes by month, which is the second sub-tab in asset allocation. This will tell you, as compared to the previous month, what were the largest increases, top 10 largest increases and top 10 largest decreases that were made in the portfolio of this particular fund. Right? So here you'll always see month-on-month comparison for the last 12 months. How can you check that? You simply need to click on this drop down and you will see all of these months listed right here. So currently we are seeing changes that are reported as on 30th of September as compared to the previous month, that is as compared to the month of August. This is exactly what we are doing until now, even in the overall mutual fund analytics as well. As compared to the previous month, what were the changes in this particular month? If you want to, for example, go in past, you can simply change it to, let's say, 31st of July 2024. So now this will tell you changes reported in the portfolio as on July, 31st of July, as compared to the month of June. Right? On the right hand side, you can also see new positions, completely new positions that were not previously there in the portfolio of this particular fund that were made in this particular month, that is in the month of September. These were the completely new positions that were added. And again, positions removed works in a similar manner. These were the positions that were completely liquidated by this particular fund. Now, until here, it is pretty straightforward. Now, we'll come to positions over time, which is on a fund level trend analysis for the last 12 months, month on month. Here, the latest month will appear on, very nearby. So right here, it goes left to right, right? So this is going to be the latest month. And if you want to go in history, you simply use this scroller and go in the past. Right? Again, here also there's a color coding that is given. If it's a month on month increase, it will be color coded into green. If it's a month on month reduction, it will be color coded into red. On a single fund level, however, it becomes very interesting to check whether a decrease in percentage holding of a particular stock is allocable to actual selling of shares, or whether it is attributable to market of gains or losses. So for that, we have this toggle to check this. So that's percentage toggle or shares in lakhs toggle. Let's take an example of a particular stock before we understand this. So for example, BHEL. For this particular stock, you see month on month from the month of July, there's a decrease in percentage held. Therefore, this is color coded into red. So as compared to the month of July, in the month of August, it's 1.31. Therefore, again, color coded into red. And again, in the month of September, it is 1.24, which is lesser than the previous one. Therefore, color coded into red. But if we want to understand whether this reduction in percentage is allocable to number of shares being sold of this particular stock or the price of this particular stock falling, right? For that, you can use this toggle and we will shift it to shares in lakhs. The moment we shift it to shares in lakhs, we again try to locate the stock that we were looking at. The stock that we were considering was BHEL. For BHEL, you can see month on month from July, there has been no decrease in the number of shares held by this particular mutual fund. So Nippon India Small Cap has not sold off its holdings into BHEL as a stock. There were 275 lakh shares in the month of July, which has stayed constant even in the month of September. So then why is there a decrease in terms of percentage, right? That means this decrease in percentage is allocable to reduction in the share price of BHEL as a stock. How can you corroborate that? For that, you simply click on the stock's name and stock specific analysis will open up. Now, again, this is also a comparison with respect to that of the benchmark, but what we are currently considering is we just want to locate if it is actually the case that the share price is actually fallen. So for that, just remove this benchmark from here. To remove this benchmark, you simply click on Nifty 50. It will get removed. The black line which was added here has gotten removed. and we will try to zoom in and focus in from the month of July. So for that, you drag and drop, right? So this is how you zoom in a particular time period. So we have practically managed to zoom in from July, wherein the price was above 300. It was specifically 325 in the month of July, which has consistently, fallen in the next 2 months, right? So in the month of August, it has fallen, and again in the month of September also it has fallen. That is the reason you can see a reduction in percentage holding of Nippon as a fund into BHAL as a stock. Right? This is how you corroborate the two things. This was on a fund level, and currently this we saw on a security level, that is stock level. Again, on a fund level also, we have this by sector, which will help you in identifying which is a sector, or for that matter, which are the top 5 sectors that a particular fund is bullish on in a particular month, right? So, for example, in the month of September 2024, which is the latest month, right? Latest month that closed, the top 5 sectors invested in by this particular fund were capital goods, IT, capital goods, non-electrical, consumer durables, and banks. These were the top 5 sectors. Again, this can be checked either using this bisector toggle, which is again in very, very, tabulated manner, which is like numerical manner. But if you want to check this in a graphical manner, then we have this equity sectors section enabled. The moment you come on to this particular tab, which is equity sectors, which is again in asset allocation itself, you will see top 10 sectors graphical manner representation. Right? Highest is again capital goods, electrical equipment, and that amounts to 7.03% of the portfolio of Nippon. If you click on this particular blue bar graph, you will also know what all stocks from capital goods, electrical equipments are held onto the portfolio by Nippon India Small Cap. Again, all of this, wherever you see this download icons, can be taken into an Excel sheet. Now, until now, we saw holdings analysis or trend analysis on a long only positions mutual fund, right? So Nippon India Small Cap, as you can see in the overview tab also, does not have any derivative or short positions. Now let's see how the layout, or how do we show asset allocation on NGEN markets if there are some short positions or arbitrage positions in the portfolio of a particular fund. So for that, the funds under consideration should either be arbitrage funds, or for that matter, equity savings fund. Only then we'll be able to see how the presentation looks like. So for that, let me load in a equity savings fund. Again, you go back. The way of loading a equity savings fund I'm going to follow is by going in the compare section. So I'm going to just search in for the name of the fund. So let's take ICICI. Equity savings fund. You click on this and it will get added as a component in the compare section. You click on this, again, it will open in a new tab like this. Now, again, because it's an equity savings fund, you again go here in asset allocation, and you see this red ribbon will appear at the top, which will tell you that there are some short positions or arbitrage positions that are taken in by this particular fund. By default, it will be checked. Apply shorts will be checked box, there'll be a tick mark in the checkbox right here, right? Which tells you that this position that we show on the left hand side is always going to be net equity position. If you want to view gross equity position, you simply remove this checkbox, and equity has gotten, the bar graph for equity has gotten elongated. Before, I mean, if you apply shorts, that was 24%, that was net equity. And if you add this 53% shorts to this, just one second. If you add these 53, if you just add 53% shorts to this, that adds to 78%, which is the gross equity in the portfolio of this particular fund. Right? And now again, if there are any mutual funds which are held on to in this particular portfolio, which is like fund of funds, then they'll be classified as mutual funds in a separate bar graph altogether. So you can see there's this IPRO money market mutual fund, which is held on in the portfolio by this particular fund. Therefore, this will be classified into a separate bucket, which is called mutual funds. The others bracket that you can see right here will typically have REITs, if there are any in the, or investment ITs, right? All of those will appear right here. Or if there are any cash margins on derivatives, that will get displayed into others. Again, cash is self-explanatory. Debt component will be visible right here. So this is how the equity debt split or all the other components that are held into the portfolio of this particular fund will appear for anything that is not just a long only portfolio. Now, how does this change if these funds are practically, which are equity savings, which have arbitrage positions in their portfolio, are added into a portfolio and saved as a portfolio onto NGEN Markets by giving some allocations? So how will the asset allocation change and how do you read that? For that, let's go back to the compare section. And we anyway have these two funds added in the compare section, which is one is long only fund, which is Nippon India Small Cap, which we just analyzed. And the other is the equity savings fund, IPRO equity savings. If you want to convert that into a portfolio on the fly, you simply click on convert to portfolio using this button right here at the top. When you do that, it will show you a prompt that, okay, this is saved in the portfolios section as with a name compare 67. You then head over to the portfolio section. In the portfolio section, there are multiple folders. You collapse everything, right? So these are all the folders. And because we saved that portfolio from the compares section, you expand the compare section and this is how you will see. So this was compare 67, which is the portfolio that we just created. You click on run, you will see these two components of the portfolio. And again, it will be an equal allocation. Here in asset allocation, you will see currently what we show is gross equity only, right? If you want to change this to view only net equity, then we've introduced this separate toggle which says consider derivative shorts. Unless and until you check that box, it will not show you the net equity in the portfolio. Right? Therefore, you will see all of these exposures are going beyond 100, right? The moment you click on consider derivative shorts, now equity has dropped to a 60%, which now considers net equity from IPRO equity savings fund only. How will you cross verify that? The way to cross verify that is simply multiply the net equity position that you can see right here on a single fund level by 50%, right? So IPRO is to an extent of 50% in this portfolio. So therefore, its net equity position on a portfolio level is again going to be captured accordingly. So 24%, 50% of that is what is going to be getting captured here. On the other hand, for Nippon India Small Cap, its overall equity position was a 95%. 95% again is going to be multiplied by 50% because Nippon India Small Cap Fund's allocation in this portfolio is 50%. And that is how the 60% overall net equity position is going to get reflected. We can, in fact, do these calculations right here. So you just take 24, multiply that by 0.5. So that's 12% that is coming in from IPRO equity savings fund. On the other hand, for Nippon, 95 multiplied by 0.5, that's 47.5% is coming in from this equity of 60%. 47.5% is coming in from Nippon, and the balance 12% is coming in from IPRO equity savings, which amounts to almost a 60%. We have ignored the decimal point, therefore you can see this rounding off error. But this is how it is calculated when an arbitrage fund, or for that matter, any fund which has some short positions in it, is included as a part of the portfolio. Unless and until you check this mark or check this box, you will not get the net equity position visible right here. Right? So please keep this into mind. Now this is how we checked it. Just one second. Okay. So this is how we checked it on a single fund level. We added that as a part of the portfolio and checked how the asset allocation is going to look like. And we also had a look at the holdings trend of all the mutual funds month on month, investing into different stocks. Let's now move forward to the last part of the webinar discussion, which is viewing where the daily NAV reports get saved as. Right? To access those daily NAV reports, you again go back to the funds section, and there's this separate area called reports. You click on this, all the Excel daily NAV files that get generated on the platform around 10:30 every morning will get shown right here. Now, there's a way that you can get all of these files delivered on your email box, which is going to be the registered email ID with NGEN every single day. For that, you simply click on the plus icon or the subscribe icon that you see in this reports section. So if you see this as a plus icon, that means you've not yet subscribed to it. If you click on this, you'll be subscribed, and this will change it to a delete icon. That means unsubscribe icon. When you're subscribed to these daily NAV reports, these will get delivered on your email box every single morning around 10:30. Let's see how these reports look like. So for that, you can either download this from here, which is a list of all the daily NAV reports. And we have this for the last 6 odd months every day. Or you can simply choose, if you want to, just download the latest one, you can simply even download it from here. Here, it will always be the latest dates or latest NAV report appearing right here. So we've downloaded that. Let's open and see how that looks like. So this is how it will look like. I hope my Excel is visible here. Let's say now you want to go on all the entire small cap as a category. So here as well, the view is going to be exactly the same that you were seeing in the funds section, right? We've tried to keep the view consistent. So that's equity, debt, hybrid, others, and solution oriented. There are 4 buckets. Solution oriented is a separate bucket. And if you want to see all the small cap funds, you simply click on this. You will be taken to the small cap funds tab, and all the small cap funds daily NAV report will be visible right here. So this is the report that got generated on 11th of October. Therefore, all the NAVs update will be for yesterday. So that's 10th October NAV. We also have some parameters right here, which will say, okay, 1-day returns, AUM, total expense ratio of each of these funds, the NAVs of each of these funds, and the volatility Sharpe ratio. Please note, however, these ratios that you can see, that's volatility, Sharpe, these ratios are going to be since inception of these respective funds. Meaning, this volatility number that you see, that 16.54% for Nippon India Small Cap, is since the inception of this particular fund for Nippon India Small Cap. If you want to check last 1 year volatility, right, or for that matter, last 3-year volatility, then you need to click on this particular fund. It will get loaded in a new tab, and you then change the start date. Let's say you want to check the volatility for the last 3 years, which is a measure of risk. You change the start date from here. And the number that you see right here, annual volatility number, it is going to be for the time period under consideration, always annualized, however. It's annual volatility of Nippon India Small Cap for the last 3 years, that's 2021 to 2024, is 16.32. However, the data that you see here is since inception annualized for each of these funds. So please bear this in mind. That brings us towards an end of topic related discussion for today's webinar. If you have any questions, please now feel free to either type in the chat box or unmute yourself to speak. Thank you.
Prajakta, hi, I'm Ashish. I had one question.
Yes.
Similar to equity savings fund, even in the balance advantage category, will we get to see the net equity exposure properly, or Because many times what mutual funds they send us data of net equity exposure, it's much lower than what it appears in the Indian markets over here. So how do we correlate the two things, especially in the balance advantage category?
Sure, the procedure is exactly the same. You simply load in the Balanced Advantage fund and you click on it, it'll get open in a new tab. So for example, let's say HDFC Balanced Advantage.
Can you take a ICICI Pro balance
Sure.
advantage fund?
Here in the asset allocation, you see there are, again, this is updated as of 30th of September, so latest. There's this one short position.
No,
So net equity
but
is,
the net equity exposure which the mutual fund send us is close to about 35-37%. Then how do we like correlate this data with the ones which they are sending us?
um, for that, you'll have to, we'll have to check this separately. You'll have to share with us the Excel that you've received from the fund, because what happens is for the derivative positions to actually entirely capture, it might take till the end of the holdings update cycle,
No,
right?
Actually,
If
actually,
it
we don't
doesn't
get the
happen,
Excel
we'll have
data.
to.
What we get is only a PDF from them, which shows that net equity exposure for the various hybrid funds. So, like the latest one which I have received shows a hybrid fund exposure net equity in balance advantage fund is close to 35-37%. And we are showing over here 67%. So there is a big gap of 30%.
Yeah, hi. This is Arnab. One of the reasons could be, as Prajakta said, that the short positions, which should be minus from the 67 number, that it looks like in this case that still has not come through from the AMC through our data provider. So generally speaking, you should be able to see, kind of your net equity position once that information is updated. So because we're going through a cycle here, for example, if you look at another fund, for example, HDFC Balance Advantage, just load that. So here you can see there's about 15% of short position. So the net equity position is showing 50 here. If you untick that box, then it's 64. Now the same thing in ICICI isn't showing yet because the short positions, it seems that this is all they've sent. So we can obviously check with the data provider as to why this is the only short position they've sent. But generally, these are sent through the data provider. It comes from the AMC through the data provider to us.
Fair enough. I understand that. If you can just check it once, it will be
We'll definitely.
great because the gap is
Of
quite
course,
big,
yeah.
and
Yeah, yeah.
ICICI's hybrid funds are like huge in terms of the AUM. So
Yes,
a
yes.
lot of investors would have invested into those. So
Of course, we will check.
yeah, please, thank you so much.
Hi, Prajakta, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
I have put 2, 3 questions in the chat box.
Oh, yes.
If you can please.
Sure, sure. So, we do definitely conduct sessions on various topics, portfolio analytics, single fund analytics, review of standard deviation, volatility, which practically is reviewing risk parameters for screening mutual funds. So yes, we have already covered those sessions. You can definitely view the recordings using this video link right here. So this is a link to our YouTube channel. All of these webinar recordings will be uploaded on the YouTube channel. There's a separate dedicated playlist for all the previous webinar recordings, right? So you go to the playlist folder. There are already 131 videos uploaded. You can definitely view, one of those if you think that, that is something that you've missed. Um, Additionally, we also, keep on covering these topics, every kind of at least once a month. So you can definitely join during that time, right? When we cover risk parameters to analyze mutual funds. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for your precise answer. Actually, 1600 hours is such a time when somehow a lot of AMCs are conducting webinars at the same time. So sometimes we tend to miss.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot for that suggestion. We'll definitely, I think there's another comment in the chat saying that maybe try it on Tuesday or Thursday because Friday is especially busy. So we will, I mean, do you have any suggestions other than Friday 6 p.m., Friday 4 p.m. that might work better for everyone?
If I understand Saturday, Sunday is off, but if Saturday is working, then Saturday is one slot where, most AMCs don't have any webinars.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. And do you also see kind of 4 p.m. Slots being booked by AMCs for other working days other than Friday also?
Yeah. I don't know. This is like the prime time for
Right.
all AMCs, and not only webinars, even physical meetings somehow seem to be happening at 4. Maybe
At the
because
same time.
markets close, that's the reason.
Right. Fair enough. We'll try to work something out.
But as long as recordings are available, I think that's a very good backup we have.
Yeah, all the recordings are updated every week, including the question and answer session. Everything is there.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it was very nice, crisp presentation by Prajakta, and look forward to more such presentations.
Thank you. Thank you. Any more questions? Please let us know. All right. In case there are no more questions, we'll be now closing. Thank you again for joining in. You can definitely view the past webinar recordings through the webinar playlist that we have created on the YouTube channel. Till then, do stay tuned. We'll come up with an interesting topic even in the next week. Have a great weekend and happy Dussehra to everybody. Thank you.